Hello again everyone from Tokyo, Japan, and welcome back to Two Wheels in Tokyo. Today is Sunday, November 16th. Kind of chilly out this morning, should warm up a little bit later as the day goes by because it's a nice sunny day. Right now, just left my home in Roppongi and riding out toward place called Toranoman, and from Toranoman we're probably going to go through Hibiya, and after Hibiya maybe through Ginza, Tsukishima, Tsukuda by the river. And then from there we'll come back through Kayabacho and then take a look at the Imperial Palace, Nijubashima area, and we'll get a pretty good look at the other side of Tokyo, which I don't often get out to lately. It's kind of downhill from here. Pretty good ride. I live closer to the Azabu, Aoyama, Omotesando in Shibuya area. And most of what I need I can find around here, so I don't often have an excuse to ride to the lower part of town. And I used to live there anyway, so there isn't much there to see that I haven't seen before a lot of times, but today I guess I can share with you some views of these areas. Sunday is a quiet time here in Roppongi. Would have been a lot busier earlier in the day when all the people from the clubs are getting off work and going home. There are still a few stragglers here. The famous view of Tokyo Tower from this street, and there are often people lined up on the sidewalks here to take photos. So the view is getting a little harder to see because every year there are new buildings put up in the city. Population in Japan has been declining. Not so the population in Tokyo. More people are moving here. Despite that, cost of living here is still, I would say, pretty reasonable compared to other places, especially in America. I travel to America quite often, and I'm always shocked when I go shopping there, especially when I'm going out to get something to eat. Food's expensive. Lamborghini. Seems that in Japan that the more congested and less fun an area is to drive a car in, the more exotic cars there are on the road. You're really lucky around here on the highway if you can get up to 60 kilometers per hour, let alone anywhere near the top speed of some of these cars. Kind of silly. And it's generally stop and go traffic, so if these cars have manual transmissions, they're a real bear to drive. Why I always prefer prefer to ride a bicycle around Tokyo. I have a car. It's a nice car. It's very comfortable. Kind of car that if you have to spend a lot of time in it during the day, you can do so comfortably. It's a BMW, a 7 Series. And BMWs are fairly common here in Japan, and especially here in Tokyo. And it's a big car. It's got a V8 engine in it. Pretty fast. But I haven't driven that car since, I don't know, sometime in August. It's been a long time. That's how much I hate to drive. Probably shouldn't even have a car. Needless to say, it doesn't have a lot of miles on it. But it does come in handy sometimes when the weather's really bad, or from time to time we do go on road trips out to different parts of the country, and it's very convenient to have those times. If we're riding around in the city here, I much prefer riding my bicycle. I'm kind of entering the Toranomon area. Roppongi's over toward the left a bit. Grocery store over there. Friends of mine used to live in this neighborhood. They returned to their home in Europe after the pandemic. The building over on the right side, I think that's where Facebook is at. On the bottom floor there's a daycare center. It's one of the places we looked at sending our daughter to daycare when she was little. A lot of embassies around here. That's the Swedish embassy over on the right. They were kind of notorious here in the pandemic era because they were open as usual and Swedish people weren't wearing masks at that time. Even at the embassy, they were having barbecues and things going on there, trying to live life as normal as possible. But to tell the truth, that was true of most of Japan. Life was pretty normal here during the pandemic, especially compared to America and places in Europe which were not in Sweden. Everything here is mostly open. There were no restrictions on going around, no restrictions on eating in at restaurants. That's why my friends waited until after the pandemic to go back home, because here they could do more and enjoy more. Kids could go to school here. It wasn't until a fair amount of time later that that happened in America or Europe. Okay. Now we're in Toranomon. On the right is the building where I often go to a clinic, get an annual checkup. It's also where they have the Warner Brothers office, Shiroyama Garden. Also up here is where the hotel is, the New Edition Hotel. There's good restaurants there. The Blue Room or Blue Lounge, whatever they call it. I know that there's a Blue Room hotel, or there used to be Blue Room restaurant and hotel in Miami. I went there back in the days when I still lived in Miami. beautiful view there. You can go out onto the terrace in the back where the pool is, then walk to the beach. The view from the blue terrace or room, the Edition Hotel, is of Tokyo. Great view of Tokyo Tower. So behind us, some way back, would be Shiba Park, Zozoji Temple. Ahead of us in the distance would be Hibiya and Nihonbashi, as the sign says there. Bridge of Japan, that's what Nihonbashi means. Nihon, Japan, Bashi, bridge. Toranomon Hills, another hills development. Anders Hotel is over on the left. Don't stay at these hotels because living around here, but they always have good places to eat. It's very convenient to keep these lights green. That seldom happens. And all this road here is torn up because of the subterranean construction. A good part of Tokyo is underground. You don't even see it. There are lots of tunnels, highways and roadways going under the ground, shopping centers and things like that. Oh, all right. I'm still sore from my big crash back in September. As my right shoulder and right arm have been healing and getting more active. Other things seem to be getting more sore. Very annoying. Sign over there. Toranomon chiropractic. I should probably maybe see a chiropractor. Some years ago I got in a bicycle wreck here. I got squeezed between a bus and a truck on my way to work one morning. Luckily I didn't break anything, but I did scrape up my shoulder a little bit. And had headaches after that. And I went to chiropractor at the Tipness Fitness Center in Marunouchi, and the chiropractor put my body through a kind of routine. I know it sounded like my body sounded like a bag full of tree branches which someone was stepping on, but afterwards I felt like a new man, and headaches completely stopped. Unfortunately, this chiropractor was good enough that he went into private practice in New York City, and he left Japan. And I've been to 3 different chiropractors since him, but none of them are nearly as good as he was. It's very disappointing. So, Nihonbashi area here, cruising through. No, not Nihonbashi. What am I thinking of? Hibiya. Not Nihonbashi yet. That's on the other side of the Tokyo. And lots more construction going on here. A lot of these are office and administration buildings. A few of them have residences in the top, even in this area. And underground they connect to the subway and train stations, and There's always a big series of shops and restaurants and things like that underneath. I used to live in Shinkawa and commute to Otemachi every morning, and interesting thing was that I could do most of the trip underground, which is very convenient on days when it's really cold or really hot or when it's raining. Okay. Shibuya Park ahead. Beautiful olive colors. It's a great season to be in Japan this time of year when it's not raining. As luck usually has it, when the leaves are at their most colorful, it turns rainy. Let's see. The Tokyo Deaflympics is being held, according to the sign. I'm hard of hearing, at least according to my wife. So I got my bicycle. Maybe I should try to compete in the Deaflympics. Another giant new building going up. Alright. I'm gonna go up ahead through that area. Take advantage of the green light. On what is called a cycling lane here in Tokyo. This is actually a parking lane. They just pretend it's a cycling lane. Goes to Shinkansen. And the Tokaido line train. Another train. Tokyo Station just a little ways over to the left. Going under the tracks here. This track system was built more than a century ago and extremely well made, and it survived the bombing during the war. And under the tracks on the left, where you see all these shops and stores, a lot of shops and stores and places were built under the tracks at that time because it was considered the only safe place. And some of them survive to this day. Long line. Glad my wife's in here. We'd have to stop and wait. My wife thinks if a business has a long line, especially a restaurant, it must be really, really good and worth getting in and waiting in line for 2 or 2.5 hours. I don't follow that logic, though. To be fair, these places genuinely are very good. Okay. All right. Turn over toward Ginza. Vinos and Yamazaki, so wine and whiskey. Ginza will be very busy today because they have the main surface street is shut down to cars, and so only pedestrians can go through, and everyone of course wants to go through, especially the tourists. Ginza is very popular with tourists, not just foreign tourists but Japanese tourists as well. Just live within walking distance of this area. And, all right, still early. Streets still open to cars. Ooh. Ginza Go Chome. Okay, from noon until 6. Oh wait, noon until 5 in this season. That's what the sign there says. The street is closed to cars. All right. G6, Ginza 6, it's a new thing. Ginza Roku Chome, 6th district of Ginza. That's a new building. Ooh. Okay, Tsukiji isn't far ahead. Some nice parks up here. I used to go with my daughter when she was little, before we moved to Roppongi. This is Showa Dori Avenue. This comes from Shinbashi Station, which would be over to my right about a kilometer or a kilometer and a half. And if I turn left and follow the road, it'll go all the way to Ueno Station. Used to be a pretty good used bike shop up ahead on the left, but went out of business. Skyline up ahead is in the distance, further distance would be Toyosu. Passing over the highway right now. In the past, a long time ago, this highway was actually a canal for one of the various moats which surrounded the palace, or in those days, castle. Straight ahead is Tsukiji, where the crowds of tourists are. Actual fish market is gone, but some of the shops and stores are still there and still very popular with visitors. And all the tour buses over on the right. They do have good stuff, very good food in Tsukiji. It's very famous for sushi and seafood. And it's very reasonably priced compared to some of the other places. But might as well take a look in it if we can get through. The lines are long. The actual fish market used to be over there to the right on the other side of that funny parking structure. But they're doing a lot of underground work here for new roadway interchange, and so that part of Tsukiji, the fish market, had to be torn down. Hop on, hop off, view from the top. My wife and daughter go on day trips on that bus from time to time. I figure after living in Tokyo all their lives that they know it well enough they don't have to ride the bus, but they still have fun on it. One way, bicycles okay. Yeah, it was never this crowded in the past. It's as bad as Takeshita Street in Harajuku nowadays. Sushi Zanmai, famous place. The guy who owns Sushi Zanmai is always famous because usually every year he buys the largest and most expensive bluefin tuna annual market. He'll spend millions of dollars for one of these fish. Wow. The line on my left is to the tamago yaki place. Tamago means egg and yaki means cooked or fried. Yakitori means like cooked or fried chicken, grilled chicken. Very famous. It used to be you only had to go up to the counter and order it on a Sunday. Now the line looks like it's 20-30 minutes long. All right, I'm not going to go down the side streets because that's ludicrous. Okay. It's newer design Alphard there. My wife wants one of those. She doesn't like our BMW. Alphard's cheaper. Tsukiji, all this area has the name Tsuku or Tsuki in it, which means moon. Tsukiji is a Japanese word for temple. So the moon temple is in this area, and this looks like it straight ahead. And you have these lanterns hanging in the front, and these are from supporters. And there was a lot over to the right as well. That's all been torn down, unfortunately. A lot of history disappeared in this neighborhood when they start to build up the new highway interchange. Ichikakuya ramen. All these places around here do a pretty good business. In regards to history, I can't say too much because Tokyo isn't like other old cities where there are a lot of ancient or old structures. There's not much of that here. Tokyo has been blown up by the war, and it's been leveled by earthquakes, and it's been burned down by numerous fires over the centuries. Before the 20th century, the average lifespan of a building here in Tokyo, a structure, was 20 years. So there's nothing really old or ancient about it. Kyoto, on the other hand, is a historical city with a lot of old stuff, but Tokyo is not. I'm not going to go on the roadway here. I'll take the sidewalk. This is an old drawbridge which Tokyo built just for the sake of seeing if they could build one. There's never any point in it because the Tokyo Bay would be over to the right, and we have the Sumida River going down to the left. And the river's not deep enough, and there are no places for large shipping to come, so there was never really any need for this. And on top of that, all the bridges going further into the city toward Asakusa, none of them are drawbridges, so ships can't go anyway. But it's still here. They're remodeling it again. They repainted this bridge, I think the first or second year that I was living in Japan. Now they're doing it again. That means I've been here a long time. A restaurant over on the left there, the round one, that used to be Denny's. A lot of the Denny's have closed. Unfortunate. Denny's here is a lot different than Denny's in America. Maybe the whole building is closed. Maybe they're going to knock the whole place down and build something new. Everything looks dark and empty. I wouldn't be surprised they do that a lot. This neighborhood is Kachidoki. One of the new areas which was recently built. Used to be more of a port area. Now it's residential. We're going to go through Tsukishima, which means Moon Island. It's a 7-Eleven there with a kids' space. They have a drugstore. There's a daycare center over on this side. That's where that rock climbing wall is for. And a tall building. It's one of the places we were looking at when we were shopping for a larger place. Our old place in Shinkawa was fine when it was just me and my wife and a dog. A 2LDK, so a 2-bedroom apartment. Kids, you need more space. This used to be one of the throwback eras, one of the districts which you could enjoy the Showa era atmosphere and lifestyle that is changing. Tsukishima West, the main shopping street here. There are shopping streets like this in towns all over Japan, and one thing they all have in common is that they are generally suffering, but not here. On the right is kind of the old style. You have the shops and stores on the bottom and people living above the top. This area is famous for a particular kind of food called monja yaki. What it looks like is vomit being cooked on a teppanyaki table. Looks like vomit, but it actually tastes very good. It's very famous around here. There's some old electronics shops down here. When we lived in this area, I used to come down here to get like difficult to find lights for appliances, like the round light which goes in the kitchen. Let's see if I can sneak down this street here. Quiet Showa era neighborhood. Shisha Cafe. Nishi means the west side. Follow it down to the Higashi or east side. Some of the best shops were over on the left side, but they're gone. Used to be a really good coffee roaster over here, and a shop which specialized in tea. The old police box is still there. Everything's changing. Oh. And we got our dog. He came with a warranty, and to keep the warranty on your dog, you have to bring him in for regular exams. So one of the vets which we could use was in this neighborhood. We have to drive here and find a place to park and bring the dog in for his exam. It's not even lunchtime and people are making monja. Monja restaurants. All of these are monja. Monmaru monja. That place is still there. Taiyaki shop. It's very good, very cheap. Oh. Over on the right in the bottom of this tall building is the Monjayaki Visitor Center, where you can go in and learn about all the history of Monjayaki. There it is there. It's still there. And on top of that, you can arrange to go on the Monjayaki Yatsufune, which is these boats which cruise around Tokyo Bay. They're lit up with lamps, quite beautiful. And every night they go out in the bay, and you can eat and drink on these boats and enjoy a view of the Tokyo skyline. It's a lot of fun if you're not prone to getting seasick. These are very much in demand here. Companies often use these for nomi hodai or company parties. This is new too. There used to be an old warehouse on the left where this new building is, and it was converted to a kind of art and restaurant place. And there's a very good Spanish restaurant on the bottom with displays of art, and the food was very good. Koban, that's the police box. Fire department, police department here practice drill and ceremonies. Military people will know what that means. Okay. Beautiful autumn colors here in Tsukishima. This is a very, very old fishing port here. And it was active until fairly recently. There are still a few fishing boats here. When I moved here, there were a couple which were sunk over on this side in the water where that planter is. And when the tide went down, you could see them. Okay. A big tour there. Used to be houses here where this park is now, but they fell down from disrepair. Building up here straight ahead, this used to be where the neighborhood public bath was. And looks like it's still open. On the right it says men, on the left it says women. It's not open right now, but it looks like it's still in business. It's from the days when housing was so small that many homes didn't have room for a bathtub. This is a Sumiyoshi shrine. A lot of kids come here for Shichigo-san. So for girls who have to come twice for Shichigo-san, it's for a blessing. And you dress up in traditional clothes, and you come to the shrine and get blessed. And you have to, of course, rent the clothing for the event. For boys, they only have to do it when they're 5. For girls, they have to do it when they're 3 and 7. And of course, This is nice, new roadway here. This used to be just asphalt. So we went to Shichigo-san and the new Otani Hotel for the 7-year-old one, and then first one was shrine out in West Tokyo, closer to my mother-in-law's house. Wow, all this is paved now. Straight ahead is where they keep the mikoshi for this neighborhood. That's the portable shrine which they carry around in the festivals. A lot of sweet shops here. Now they're building a new house on the right. This used to be the most beautiful home in the district. It's gone now, unfortunately. An old style Japanese home with a tile roof. The bottom floor was a restaurant and sweet shop. Japanese people aren't particularly religious. There's no official religion here, but you'll often see them bowing when they pass the gate to a shrine. This is my old neighborhood. This is the area where I used to live. It's a nice park over to the right. Sumida River here. A tall building with the cranes on top. That's in Otemachi, 3 or 4 kilometers from here. This is a very beautiful area to come during the cherry blossom season. Lots of cherry trees here, especially along the river. And there are actually a lot of places here where you can find stuff to eat and drink, bring here to the riverside to enjoy. School in this area. Sports club. Nice facilities if you live in this complex here. Straight ahead is the elementary school. And up here we have the park for the kids. It's also a popular place in the Hanami season. All the cherry trees up ahead. Used to come here a lot. The dog liked to play in the water. Our old dog. And they've changed it. So we used to have the old style Japanese picnic benches. Japanese picnic benches are generally just one big low table, and everyone sits on the table. You take off your shoes and you leave them on the ground outside the table. You'll still see some of those in other parks. They used to have them here, but not anymore. It's kind of interesting to come back to places where you used to live, but sometimes kind of sad because stuff changes so much. The grocery store on the other side of the street up there, Maruetsu. But there's another store on this side, Linkos, which is the store I prefer. Kind of a high-end store. But even a high-end store in Japan nowadays is quite reasonable compared to an ordinary grocery store in America. It's a store I like in New York City. It's Butterfield Market. And Tokyo's luxury grocery stores are much less expensive than Butterfield Market. Loris International School. They moved here. My wife, of course, is Japanese, and in Japan people take education very seriously. We were out looking for school, preschool for our daughter, and my wife, of course, has to check every preschool in the city. And she went to Loris to check out the school. And while she was there, the school bus arrived and let off the kids, and one kid was missing. And somehow they overlooked the kid when they were getting on the bus. And this caused a huge panic. And the bus went back and found the kid still sitting at the bus stop, thankfully. After that, my wife crossed Loris off of the list. We're crossing the Chuo Bridge, the Chuo Ohashi. You'll often see the expression "o" in front of things in Japan. O is kind of a honorific, and things like ohashi or sushi is known as o sushi. All these apartment buildings here are new except for the two on the right. Okay, abunai jitensha wa. Okay, telling bicycles to be careful. Don't worry, I'll be careful. Studio 1969. That used to be a construction warehouse. There's a guy who had a really nice AE86 Toyota Corolla, which he was always working on there. Building on the left is kind of a subsidized housing. They don't have many subsidized buildings in Tokyo. They're not really necessary because the cost of housing here is reasonable. But for single mothers, which are not common here, disabled people, they still have some. And that building is one of them. It's a very beautiful building and has a wonderful view of the river. One of the most famous views in Tokyo, as a matter of fact. We'll go up here and have a closer look at it. All right. That area ahead is known as Tsukuda, and Many movies and dramas and music videos have been recorded around here, and as well as the old Japanese drama, Love Connection or whatever it was filmed right on this spot. One of the scenes with Kimura Takuya, and this funny little gated off area which has been here forever. Inside there's an old refrigerator and a chair which has been here since I first visited this spot back in 2005. Back then there weren't any trees in it, but this particular spot of land inside that little gate no one owns, so no one can touch it. They can't remove the trash, they can't trim or remove the trees. It's really weird. All right. Up in the distance ahead, where we're going by next, is Eitaibashi. And the street which crosses is called Eitai Street. Eitaibashi, that was Tokyo's first steel bridge. The bridges crossing the river before that were all made of wood and often broke down, often breaking down with people crossing them. And recently, while doing some remodeling work on the bridge, they found a compartment in there which is used for storage or whatever, which hadn't been opened in 60 or 70 years, and they found someone's dead body inside. And no one knows what happened. If it was someone who just was forgotten and the door was locked and they were left in there, or if they were intentionally put in there. Interesting story. Now, the bridge survived the bombing during World War II, though it was targeted quite often. And one of the steel girders going across the top, there's a big dent in one of them where it was actually hit by a bomb. Thankfully for the bridge, the bomb didn't detonate, so it survived. This is another area which is very famous for the cherry blossoms. And this building over on the left here. This is one of the buildings we were thinking of buying a unit in. This is an old expat housing building built at the end of the bubble era. When it was new, it was ungodly expensive, and when we were shopping, it was quite reasonable because that was kind of like during the period of the financial crisis. It's one of the few, very few apartment buildings in Japan which actually has more than one toilet inside of a unit. Most homes in Japan have only one toilet per home. It's very unusual to find them with two or more. All right, there's Eitai Bridge. Okay. It's been repainted again. It's lit up at night. It looks very beautiful at night in the dark. So a little park here with bathrooms. This used to have something of a homeless encampment in it way back in the day, but no homeless here anymore. It used to be like that in a lot of the parks in Tokyo. There were a lot of homeless men mostly who had come to Tokyo back when it was being built, and kind of like the refuse of the provinces ended up here, and these men worked and then they spent everything they earned on booze and cigarettes and saved nothing, and when they got old and found themselves too old to work and not married and not having saved any money, they became homeless. But most of that generation has died off. Japan has pretty good programs for getting people housed and finding them work and stuff like that, because there's a shortage of workers here. So, and as I said, housing is not expensive, so the price of housing or lack of work are not causes of homelessness here. Usually it's mental illness or alcoholism. There are no drugs in Japan, so we don't have any addicts here, and that's another big reason why there are so few homeless. One thing you don't want to get caught with in Japan is drugs, because for a tiny amount of any kind of drug, they will lock you away for years and throw away the key. It's another reason why there's no crime here. You take drugs out of the equation, and most social problems will solve themselves. Little warning sign. This has been here forever, telling people on bicycles to be careful. We're going to go down to Kajibashi Street. If I go straight up ahead, that would take me toward Otemachi. And maybe that's where I'll go, toward Otemachi. And we can go to the palace from Otemachi. That's just as an effective way to get there is going down Kajibashi Street. We've already been through Ginza, so might as well go to Kayabacho and Nihonbashi. I'm not sure if that building up ahead, I don't think it is, the new torch tower, which is being constructed, which is eventually supposed to become Japan's tallest building. That tower there is not as tall as the one they just built in Azabudai. So it's not likely that's it. Skyline is very different here. Hotel Villa Fontaine. If I turn to the right and go that way, that takes me toward Minyocho, or Doll Town. To the left, there's a little place, used to be a place for tourist attraction where you could rent bicycles or kayaks and go kayaking around Kamejima, or Turtle Island. I'm just crossing the canal, which is one of the parts which forms the island. Shin-Ohashi-dori. The street goes straight and then it crosses the Sumida River on the Shin-Ohashi, the new bridge. And right next to Shin-Ohashi is, I forget the name of the area. It's administrative center for the Chuo ward here, the center ward in Tokyo, and it's where they have the huge annual Bon Odori dance. I've been there 3 times over the years. It's a lot of fun. It's kind of easy to get to by train or on bicycle. It's very crowded, but it's not so crowded that it's difficult to get into or get out of, as some festivals in Japan are. Coming up to Tokyo Station before long. Pretty scenic. That's hideous. From Chiba. I hate when my brakes get squeaky. Where that new building is, there used to be an old building there that used to be the headquarters for the TDK company. TDK was the company which used to make audio and video tapes back in the 70s and 80s. Audio tapes aren't such a thriving business anymore. We're entering the financial district of Tokyo. Over to the right, a short ways down, is Tokyo's stock exchange. And I used to know the head of the stock exchange. And he's a very laid-back, ordinary kind of guy, and he would take the subway or ride his bicycle to work. He didn't live so far away. Being the president of the Tokyo Stock Exchange, he could afford to pay rent in Tokyo or to buy a home here. And the funny, curvy building on the right is the Merrill Lynch building. Merrill Lynch fell apart in the financial crisis, what they call the Lehman shock in Japan. The building on the left is brand new as well. On the right, this old Merrill Lynch building is kind of old, dates to the, well, it's about maybe 25 years old. It's not ancient. Tomots, it's one of the drug chain stores. The street up ahead is location Nihonbashi. Welsia, another chain drugstore. Koredo is what they call a lot of the shops in Nihonbashi area. Nihonbashi is over there to the right. All right. Yanagiya, that's an old building. That one's got to be next on the list to be knocked down. turn the right, we're going through Torano-mon, and Tora means tiger, Mon means gate. So that used to be the Tiger Gate entrance to the Imperial Palace. Right now we're going into Ote Machi. Ote means big hand, and it's named after Ote-mon, which was the big hand gate. All right, on the right where those cranes are, that is the location for the Torch Tower, with what will be the tallest building in Japan, Tokyo Torch. I think I've said it before, if I had a skyscraper, I wouldn't want to call it the Torch Building, especially in a place with a history like with earthquakes and fires like Tokyo. We can go by the Shimizu Company. Here's the exit to Tokyo Station, far side. If you're going to catch the Shinkansen, this is the convenient way to get in. We're on the Yaisu side right now, and when we cross under the tracks, we'll end up over on the Maru no Uchi side. Yaisu is named after Jan Houston, who was captain of the first Western European ship to arrive in Japan, and from which the story of Shogun comes from. So Jan Houston was the captain, and Will Adams was the pilot. He became John Blackthorne in Shogun's story. And Jan Houston's home was in the area on that side of where Tokyo Station is now, and they still named the area after him. Maru no Uchi means within the circle, which means it's kind of within the inner circle of the old Imperial Palace, or the old Edo Castle before it became the Imperial Palace. Let's go take a closer look at Tokyo Station. Tokyo Station is modeled after Amsterdam Station, and it was finished, I believe it was 1914. I should know because I came here to get a 100th anniversary Suica pass for Tokyo Station. The line went around forever. In the old days, there was nothing here. This was just open country on this side of where the train line is. It was called Mitsubishi Meadow because the entire area was owned by the Mitsubishi family, and they were behind the building of Tokyo Station, and they developed this side of the station, put all the exits on this side, and that made the land on this side of the station more valuable. They didn't put any exits on the other side of the station, so the people who lived over there were kind of screwed. So eventually they did build the Yaisu side exit, and people who lived and worked over there could more easily get on and off the train. Okay, there it is. It was completely destroyed during the 1923 earthquake. A lot of it fell down, and what didn't fall down was burnt, then rebuilt. And I think it was during this rebuilding that they put the new entrances on the other side. I'm not supposed to ride a bicycle in here, but no one's yelled at me yet. I'm Gaikokujin-san, so I'm not expected to know any better. There are some benefits to being not Japanese when you live in Japan. All right. The Shinmaru building means new Marunochi building. It's hard to tell which buildings are new because some of them are new while they're still old, and they are the third generation new. Like they have the Otemachi building, the new Otemachi building, and that one's scheduled to be torn down and built into yet another generation of the Otemachi building. And they don't like to call it the new Otemachi building. So colorful here, very beautiful. Okay, I don't have a lot of battery left in the camera, and being silly, I didn't bring an extra battery. So hopefully I'll be able to get through the Sakura gate of the palace before it goes dead. And that'll bring us fairly well along our route. Okay, light's green, that's convenient. Ah, okay. Okay, they have a cycling course open today. The ginkgo trees. They turn yellow a little earlier here than they do over in the area where I live, is Aoyama. I haven't been to this cycling course in years. We're entering the center part of the palace. Chinobori inside the moat. Okay. All right, I can pretend to be a pedestrian here. There's a cycling course here on the sidewalk, so I don't have to stop for the light like those guys did. Up ahead in the distance is Toranoman, which we rolled through earlier on the ride. Yeah, every Sunday, national holiday, this circuit here is closed off to cars, so bicycles can come here and run around it. Unfortunately, the traffic lights are still operating, so you have to stop whenever the traffic light is red. So it doesn't make much difference whether it's close to cars or not. Whoa. Right. Okay. Nijubashi Bridge. Tells people to go slow. Ride slowly. Okay. Not a bad environment. Nice to live in a place where cycling is popular. Alright, it's the turnaround point here, which I will use. And we'll ride through the gate in just a moment, as soon as I can get around. Down there you can see the skyline for Otemachi. The curvy building in the center is the Palace Hotel. The lounge is very good. A nice view of a nice garden and part of one of the boats for the castle here. Okay. A lot of runners going around the palace. I always go in the same direction, in the counterclockwise circle. Occasionally visitors come here and start running and they run the wrong way. It's perfectly legal to run either way you like, but they'll appreciate you better if you do like everyone else does and go counterclockwise. So there were a large number of these gates built all the way around the palace back in the day, and always designed at defensive angles. This for inside what was the largest castle in the entire world. You think of European castles. Many of the European castles are not much larger than the gates to this castle, like the one up ahead. I don't recall how many gates there were, but the outer circumference of the castle, the outermost, is either 16 or 18 kilometers. So pretty big. These are the inner gates. There were gates outside as well. Okay, and there's the inner moat, the deep one, colorful leaves. So I think I'm going to go ahead and end the video now, because I think we've seen pretty much everything we're seeing, and I don't want the video cut off in the middle by a dead battery. So in the future I plan to make more videos of different parts of Tokyo. If you'd like to see these, please let me know in the comment section below, and if you have any requests, please let me know. Wow. Fatalities, one fatality. That's a lot of fatalities for traffic in Japan. That's what that sign is. That's the number of fatalities and injuries in this district in Tokyo during the year. It used to be in the double digits. Anyway, as I said, if you have any requests or if you'd like to see more, please let me know. Please subscribe. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you tune in again soon. I'll go ahead and shut off here by the National Police Headquarters building.